Greetings, DFG here, Gideonsflight. Sitting here with my son Derek, Derek Green, DEG, if you allow me to say that. Um, First of all, guys, thank you for listening in. Derek is a Louisianian, and he's been here off and on for most of his life, but he's currently living here, residing now. How long have you been residing back here? I know you left for a while.
Since 2013, for approximately about 3 years now.
So about 3 years now.
Exactly 3 years.
And the reason we bring that up because we want to talk a little bit about the recent shootings.
Yeah.
In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is about 60 miles from New Orleans, where we currently are right now. And I wanted to just get some perspective from a local, and maybe share your thoughts not only around the climate here in southern Louisiana, but more importantly, your feelings about some of the things that you're hearing and seeing, as an African American, young male. Okay.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, let's start off with the Alton Sterling. Shooting. What's your thoughts around that, Derek?
When I look at the Alton Sterling shooting, Alton Sterling was a great guy. Obviously, I didn't know him personally, but he was just out selling CDs.
Yes.
And had an incident with the police.
Yes.
Or the police had an incident with him. And at the end of the day, he lost his life, which shouldn't have happened. I personally, my first thought is a lack of leadership within the law enforcement ranks.
Yes.
Lack of leadership and training.
Okay.
We hear a lot about officers saying things such as they feared for their lives, or the guy, or the person,
perpetrator,
who was the person that they were arresting was resisting arrest.
Yes.
Well, in this case, we actually have the video. We actually have the video footage to look at. So we know that those things were not necessarily the case. But I think that I honestly think that it starts with a lack of training, on the part of our law enforcement officers, because we don't want to put all of them out there. There are some good officers out there,
Right. Everybody's talking about that.
But what I see going on right now within the ranks of a lot of police departments is there's a lot of winging. They're kind of getting out there and winging it, because police departments are desperate for personnel because people don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
Well,
it could be a very, it could be a very thankless job.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you're constantly under the spotlight.
Right.
And it's a very low reward, high intensity, type of job. When you go out and you do the right thing, then people, you're lucky if somebody say thank you.
Right.
But the first time you get it wrong, then people want to have you pay the ultimate price.
Right.
And let me qualify what I'm saying, and if you don't mind, Derek, just elaborate and share inside of your thoughts as well, at least build inside of your thoughts or piggyback on what you're saying, is that the Alton Sterling situation was to us, it looked as though they something else could have been done other than that type of extreme measure. And then in addition to that, is how we're feeling as African Americans, and then secondly, how is the nation feeling as a whole when you look at the incident that just happened not only with Alton Sterling a couple of weeks ago, but then the most recent situation with the shooting, the sniper shooting this Sunday in Baton Rouge.
Right.
So as an African American male, is that affecting you when you see police officers, or are you feeling uncomfortable in any way?
I'll say this, for most of my life, I have not felt uncomfortable being a guy who's never been in trouble. Military veteran, working for the United States government.
Yes.
Never been in trouble. So typically, I was okay. I'd be okay. A lot of times the way we receive, process, and internalize information is based on our experiences.
Yes.
Well, my experience is one that's never been bad with police officers. But in this case, although I've never had those experiences, when I look at the event, not just Alton Sterling, but we can go all the way back to 2012 starting with Trayvon, leading all the way up
Now,
to.
yeah, and I will tell you that, and the reason I'll say this because I agree, because that seems like that's where it started again.
Right.
Although the guy who actually shot Trayvon Martin was not a police officer,
but just the
neighborhood
response.
watch.
Right, but the response of the legislators and the people who actually
judicial system.
Exactly. So now now we're here. And there was a time where I was totally calm because, well, I'm a guy who's never been in trouble. I pay my taxes, and I do my best to do right by my community, society, and my family. Well, now, I can remember just the other day, I'm headed home from work. Now, my commute home from work is very important. And police, I see those sirens coming up from behind me, and I immediately just tighten up. Because of my awareness is now raised, to the point that I could be a totally upstanding citizen who's never been in trouble, have no bad intent, but yet get treated a certain way because of hate, which is based around the color of my skin. So here I am, a man who's never been in trouble, served in the military,
but feeling uncomfortable.
Feeling uncomfortable, yeah, because I see sirens in my rearview mirror. They're not coming for me; they're coming past me, but. These incidents have my awareness raised.
So it's safe to say that there's paranoia on both sides now.
Absolutely.
Because even I have to be honest as well. And even when I'm driving and going places, I'm very aware of my surrounding, especially when I see police vehicles somewhere. Not like yourself, never been in trouble and and have no reason to believe any trouble would start. But it's just, again, the paranoia that comes with these incidents, whether it be, a situation, again, like Alton Sterling, or a situation like, Baton Rouge. Just to change it up a little bit, I know that I'd seen, I don't want to misquote the organization, but I want to say it had something to do with either the National Fraternity of Police or maybe the local fraternity of police, the person that's in charge. I want to know your thoughts around the fact that he said that he felt like that the protesters should make a statement, against police, violence or violence against police. What's your feeling about that?
And that's a very that's a very sticky topic. I honestly don't feel as though the protesters owe anyone anything, any explanation, because they're just protesting. They're protesting. For the right to be seen as equal human beings. That's all they want. For the the right for their for them and their loved ones to receive the same treatment as people who don't look the way they look.
Yeah.
That's all the protesters want.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I would tell you that I agree with that because I think it's two different situations.
It is.
Now because the protesters cannot be held responsible for these lone wolves or lone gunmen or
these are personal
individuals who are
vendettas.
Yeah, and cowardly acts.
Very,
I might
very
add.
much so,
You follow me? Because and I call it cowardly acts because you're taking out retaliation on individuals who had nothing to do with what you claim your anger is about.
Right.
So that would be as though someone came and assaulted you. And then you go and assault somebody innocent, and you feel good that somehow or another you feel like it's justifiable to harm the person who did nothing to you, and yet the person who committed the offense, is still sitting out there probably still repeating that behavior. And you think by sending some message, all that's going to do in my mind is create bigger problems, cause more anxiety, more anger, and create more paranoia. So for anyone out there that thinks that the right way to redress concerns is by violence for violence, I'm telling you it's the wrong way. It's self-destructive. It's nation counterproductive.
It is.
And at the end of the day, it's the whole thing. If an eye for an eye, everybody ends up blind.
And you look at the situation in Baton Rouge from this Sunday. I mean, these police, someone called the police. Someone dialed 911 for the police to come out to set them up so that they can kill them. Well, is that sending a statement? No, it's not. What it's actually doing is causing this huge anxiety and this mass anxiety and apprehension amongst police officers.
Right.
So what happens when one of your loved ones, your mother, wife, daughter, son, is home alone? Someone's breaking in. They call 911, and no one responds. You know, that no one responds to it. The police are apprehensive about coming out because they might be being set up.
Right. And you know, and again, you know, Derek, we share this because again, just I think the first step in resolution has to be, you know, coming with an understanding and conversation, some transparency. Absolutely. And it has to come from the individuals who are intelligent enough to speak to these matters. It can't be, you know, the black separatists or the white supremacists. Yeah. You know, it has to be genuinely concerned, tax-paying.
Set apart from emotions.
Exactly right. Yeah. You know, right, where individuals who genuinely care about their communities, they care about the safety of their families, they care about the healthiness of the national government, and they understand that what affects one directly affects everybody indirectly. Yes. And so we have to have these kind of conversations and talk about this, and we have to come to the table, black, white, police officers. We all have to talk about this, and we all have to call wrong, but we don't stop protesters. That's a Second Amendment right. Absolutely. I'm sorry, your First Amendment right. First Amendment that's a First Amendment right to, you know, the right to redress your government when you have a concern about something, and saying that they should apologize or make a statement, you know, speaking out against, you know, acts of hostility towards a police officer. It's like blaming the victim, you know, for being victimized. You follow me? It's not the same thing, and that's not the solution either. Solution is talking. The solution is personal accountability. The solution is coming up with resources, training, development, as you spoke earlier, you know, for the police department to help them better understand how to deal with these complex situations, you know, in the inner cities especially. Right. And then secondly, you know, as far as the inner cities, you know, that, you know, we have to also understand too that, you know, we have to start working towards creating environments where people respect what we respect. And I'll give you a statistic. Since we're in New Orleans, I was looking back over the last, I think 6 years, and there were 1,000 murders in this city. This city's not that big. It's had 1,000 murders. 92% of those murders were black-on-black crimes committed by men. And there were probably 3,500 shootings, including that 1,000 murders included in that. And it's going to be hard for someone not to be afraid of you if that's your statistics. I don't care what you say. You don't want to deal with it, I guess. Yeah. What can we tell you? Yeah. But if I think that
it's kind of like if you treat your own that way, how are you going to treat me?
And well, yes. And in addition to that, if you're showing a propensity for violence, how do I know where your violence is going to start and stop? So I shouldn't come in with extreme force.
No.
Because that's not the answer. But at the same time, there's got to be some personal accountability, I guess is what I'm saying, you know, Derek, if you agree. You know, there's got to be some personal accountability that does not condone, you know, the behavior, because my heart goes out to those families and all the way around the board.
Those officers,
Austin Stallin's family, you know, it goes out to those police officers' family. You know, we can talk about Minnesota, we can talk about Dallas and other things, but since we're in Louisiana and we're in the current, you know, our hearts goes out to those families, and God forbid, I wouldn't want to be the parent that gets told that my son has been killed, or I don't, you know, because of an incident with the police, you know, or I want to be the parent that's my or the spouse that says my spouse has been killed because of some cowardly act by someone who decided that he's going to attack my husband for something somebody else did that had nothing to do with my husband directly. So when you're looking at it, you know, holistically, you have to take it. I think we have to talk. We have to be honest. We have to be transparent. You know, and we have to be solution oriented.
Absolutely.
And so whether that's more training, more town hall meetings, you know what I'm saying? You know,
and one thing I don't want to neglect is the fact that the good officers have to have some system of accountability for the bad officers.
Well, and of course, I think they have to have personal accountability.
Absolutely.
It's just, you know, that's like a team. You know, sometimes the team has to go into the locker room and say, coaches, get out. This is a team-only meeting.
Right.
You follow me? And we're not going to accept your performance. You're making all of us look bad.
Right.
And that's not when somebody commits a hostile crime. It's talking about when somebody does